All right, welcome back, Berlin and Angel Blue. Nice to see you guys again. What's going
Thank
on?
you.
What's going on with your world since the last time we spoke? Anything new?
May I speak?
Yes.
We've been doing quite a bit of traveling.
You guys are always
So,
traveling.
yes, and this weekend it was Easter. So that was a big thing because we did church the whole weekend. Then we did a Easter egg hunt. So it's been very busy.
So you guys go to church.
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't think that would be part of your life, given the what are those rings called? The Baphomet rings,
Oh,
with
church.
with the giant horns that you were wearing last
Yes,
time.
I know what you're talking about. Church is very important because the way that we want to, our kids are raised with God as number one, family number two. So we make sure to have that as the foundation for everything. That's number one.
That's interesting. What was the significance of those rings that you were wearing last time?
Well, those rings, they were a
Well,
spiritual thing.
I think we can leave that as a mystery.
Oh, okay.
I think we can leave
You
those.
don't have to answer every question I ask.
That's right.
I give people the ability to say, let's move on to the next question.
And I accept that and take it.
So tell me about your relationship. I'd love to delve deeper into what it's like to be in a master slave relationship. Is being the master something you've kind of always been into in your relationships, or is it just this relationship that's taken hold?
It's in this relationship that it has more expressed itself. It has expressed itself more fully. Yes.
What is your favorite part of being Angel Blue's master?
Well, in all honesty, it's fulfilling my responsibility. That is the most fulfilling part of it for me. There's a lot of responsibility, just as there's a lot of giving, but there's a lot of responsibility.
And Angel Blue, what would you say is your favorite part of being Berlin's slave?
My favorite part is it I feel it completes me. I was complete before I met him, but there's that extra kick to it. And although I had purpose before I met him, he gave me more purpose. And years ago, I was somebody that wasn't doing very well. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I was sleeping on the streets. I had boyfriends who were criminals who were doing life sentences right now. And I had to pull myself out of that, which I did that all on my own. Went to college, started university, and I knew that I wanted to change. I knew that I wanted something better. And in doing that, it led me to finding somebody of value. And when I met him, it just came together perfect. And he's helped me a lot. I feel like we've grown together.
How many years have you been together?
30,000,
That's a long time.
that is.
You've had ups and downs as any relationship, or
Of course.
but you weather them and carry on.
Yes. And quite frankly, the nature of our relationship tends to make it easier to resolve conflict or issues. It just does.
Because you guys have this contract that you mentioned last time.
Because we have an agreed upon power relationship. And Blue has her own agency, and she entered into this relationship of her own agency. But when a captain has one ship, strike that. When a ship has one captain, it's much easier to navigate through things. Blue is always available to make suggestions, to give input, but in the end, I make the decisions. And that's agreed, and that eliminates a lot of conflict.
We talked about this last time, but what is it that you bring to this relationship? It's guidance, of course.
I bring guidance, I bring care, I bring structure. Those are the things I bring.
And financial support mainly
Yes,
comes from you?
that's part of my responsibility. And I take my responsibilities very seriously, and I appreciate having responsibility and fulfilling that responsibility.
And Angel Blue, what do you bring to this relationship?
I bring, my nature is to please. I like to please the person that I love and that helps me in so many ways, as Berlin does help me. So I please, I obey, I'm obedient to him, and I serve. Just as Berlin serves me, I serve him too. And there's a lot of creativity between us. When we come together, I always feel as if we're children. I always say burning the house down. I always see fire, because we have so much fun. So much fun. Even when we're not doing anything, just hanging out. It's always fun. The mundane things are fun. So I would say joy. There's a lot of joy. Well, we both bring that to each other, really.
Well, I'm considerably more serious, and she helps balance that with a lighter and more joyful and playful element.
Yes.
Is this a dynamic of a relationship that you would recommend to other couples or other people?
No, I wouldn't recommend anything to other people. This is simply our experience. And we can eschew the labels of master-slave. It's the dynamic of our relationship is what is important, and what lies behind that dynamic, what's expressed through that dynamic, is what's important. But it's up to each individual and each couple to find their way. If what we have to say helps, then, or gives a different alternative and makes it available to someone without stigmatization, then we've done what we came here to do by these interviews.
And you have children.
Yes.
You have some children.
We have one child left at home, and yes, we do, and that of course presents its own issue.
How does this master-slave relationship? Do you show that to your children, or do they not see it?
They don't see it. We don't believe that it's appropriate to put our ways on others. It occurs in everyday life in front of the children, but only in subtle ways, ways that are not discernible unless you look for it.
May I speak?
Yes.
So, children, I try to protect kids from knowing any kind of, when we do our fetish and our hardcore extreme sexual things, everything is done when there is nobody home, just us. So none of that, everything's put away, everything there's nobody has any idea of that type of stuff that goes on. And as far as our daily life in front of any children, because there's sleepovers and all kinds of things, parties. So as far as our daily life, we keep everything. The only difference between everybody else and us would be it's more formal. There's more structure. If I'm going out, I do ask Berlin, is it okay if I go to the store right now? Is it okay? Things like that. But to others, to the naked eye, it seems just very formal and respect. But there's nothing that would give our lifestyle or fetish away. There's nothing that any child or even anybody like work-wise or anything like that would know.
So I don't want to be too nosy, especially about your sexual life, but you kind of hinted at something that you guys get into some darker
Yes,
play.
We do. We get into a lot of very dark, extreme things. And I feel very lucky because it's hard to meet somebody that will accept you in that way. And a lot of people previous to Berlin, they were not accepting me. Years and years of people thinking I'm odd, I'm weird, I can't do that. I respect you too much, but it had nothing to do with the respect. Those were my desires. You either share that or you don't. And they didn't, which is fine. And so when Berlin and I met, I was the one who went deeper and I opened doors. I suggested. I cannot tell him what to do. I can only suggest. And that's what I did. And he loved it. He loved it. And I felt like at last, after, previous people, and it was never working out, at last, there was somebody that it just worked with.
The puzzle piece fit.
Yes, we fit perfectly.
And, Angel Blue used the term respect, and we've used it before. And it's very important, and really, how could we really respect each other any more than accepting each other with whatever we came to the table with? How could I respect her more than saying, yes, fine, there's room for you. There's room for all of you.
Does your submissive role, Angel Blue, do you ever feel like you want to disobey or, just not play the role of submissive partner all the time?
There's times when I want to disobey because
You're human.
always have been a little rebellious. And in the beginning, it was very difficult when we first got together. But when we first met, it wasn't a master-slave relationship. And I was very self-destructive and destructive. And I would sabotage every relationship. The men that came previous to Berlin, I sabotaged every relationship. I would break things. I was really into violence, and a lot of people stepped away.
What do you think that was all about?
Well, because I grew up in a violent household and I equated love with violence, so I would always bring it into my relationships. And it became unbearable for my partners, for every partner that I had. It became unbearable. And when I met Berlin, it was like that in the beginning. It was extreme. He's the only man that the patience in Berlin is incredible, because all the others, they didn't know what to do. They did not know what to do. And Berlin, now I'm nothing like that. Now all of that is gone. The rebelliousness, the sabotaging, the violence, the police getting called. There was police all the time. I was acting crazy outside, acting crazy inside. I couldn't act like a normal person. And now,
Berlin has stabilized you.
a lot.
What is your favorite quality in Berlin?
Oh gosh, he's so fierce. He's fiercely loyal. He is fiercely loyal. And that to me is the most important thing in a person, because I'm also very loyal. And he's very strong. He is one of the strongest people, if not the strongest, that I have ever met. And his patience, he has the patience of a saint. To withstand me, he's got the patience of a saint.
And she is still mischievous, and she can be a brat.
Yes, that's true.
Which makes it fun.
Huh?
Which makes it fun.
Yes, it's all within acceptable limits.
What is your favorite quality in Angel Blue, Berlin?
Her loyalty. That is my favorite quality. Her loyalty and her honesty.
That's beautiful. What would you guys say is the most surprising thing about your relationship? The people that are watching these videos, and like, maybe they're making assumptions and they fill in the blanks of what they think it's all about. But what do you think would be surprising to the viewers?
No.
Okay.
You may, just a second.
Thank you.
I think the most surprising thing might be what lies behind the dynamic of the relationship. What lies behind the dynamic of the practices. And that is, Angel Blue puts herself in a position of great vulnerability. And that's an expression of tremendous trust. I accept that. And in those times, I'm absolutely responsible for her well-being, physically and emotionally. And I'm absolutely responsible for maintaining that trust. And that giving of herself at those times to me, and my accepting of that responsibility, and the mutual care and acceptance and love that happens in those times. And that's what lies at the heart of the relationship, at the heart of the power dynamic, at the heart of the practices.
May
Dear?
I add? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people are surprised because when they get to meet us, they're surprised as to how funny we are and how we're very playful. I know we don't look like it, but we're very playful and we're very funny and just like to have fun. And I would say wholesome, like we do a lot of wholesome things like the zoo and, all these cutesy things. So I think people would be surprised to find that out.
And I think those answers were a perfect example of sort of what each of us brings. I was much more serious, and Angel Blue was much more joyous.
What things would you like to do together that you have not yet done in your relationship? Are there things that you see in the future that you'd like to do?
More travel, more work. And we have some work projects together, so I'm looking forward to more of that.
Yes, we have plans, creative plans to do together, and I think that's something that we're both looking forward to, is just working together more, because we make a pretty good team So we want to do more of that in the future.
Could you ever see being the slave of any other man other than Berlin?
No, it's funny you mentioned that because I was telling him last night that I actually started crying because I said, I can't imagine you not being in my life. I can't imagine it. I just feel, I really hope that we go together. I really do, because that empty space, I feel nobody can fill that. Nobody can fill that thing that person brings to you. So yeah, that's been on my mind, that, you know, in the future, whenever it's our time to go, whoever goes first, who knows? But I sure do wish that we'll go together.
Is the fact that Berlin is so much older, he's like, is it 30 years roughly? Mm-hmm. Is that a concern of yours in the future? He looks healthy as a horse now, but
I am.
Hopefully you'll live to be 150, but
Yes.
but there's a chance that he might go before you.
You know, it is a concern, and I always tell him, you never know. I've almost died quite a few times. So
Maybe
you
you'll go
never
first.
know. You never know. But it definitely, I worry about him a lot. I'm always constantly checking up, like, are you okay? Or, you know, just even this weekend, we had a little incident, and, you know, and a previous incident, I actually saved his life. So
That's true. I had a medical the only major surgery of my life, and it was a medical emergency. And if she hadn't called the ambulance, I don't know what would have happened.
yes, so that is, it does weigh on me sometimes. It does, because I feel like we met, even though we've been together 30,000 years, but in this life, I feel that we met late in the game. But it's okay, because it was well worth it. We were meant to meet. And we'll meet again, no matter what happens. And we'll just keep being together. So that calms me.
And as you say, I am healthy as a horse. And that in itself is good. I come from good genes, and who knows what awaits in the near medical future.
Hopefully they'll come up with something that helps us extend our lives even
That's
further.
correct.
What does your typical week look like? Who does the cooking, for example?
I do.
You do.
I do. I do the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the errands.
Who pays the bills?
Who pays them? Actually pays them?
Who actually writes the check and puts a
Blue
stamp
does.
on it? Yeah. Not who pays for it.
She's the CFO.
Yes, I understand. You probably bring home the bacon, but she might be the one that pays the bills.
She's very good at not spending money.
Yes.
Really?
She excels at not spending money.
Yes. I've helped him.
That's
a lot.
refreshing.
Yes.
It is.
You would think this might be a sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship.
Not at all. Actually, our biggest issue in our relationship has been that he overspends and I underspend. But it's to the point where he has told me, don't take away my happiness by being so frugal. Like, don't take that away. But my background, it's so hard for me, because my background, I'm constantly worried.
Do you come from not necessarily the most wealthy family?
I come from government cheese. I come from welfare, food stamps. So it's so embedded in me, that fear of, and you know, I've had my time on the streets. So we have completely different backgrounds. And the way that he would throw, I felt like he was just throwing money away. And I couldn't, it was, I don't know, it was insane to me. So now
that's why she's in charge of, she's the CFO.
Yeah, he gave me that job as your accountant, right?
There you go.
Yeah, he gave me that job.
And I can even remember early on, I was in the middle of getting her a gift, and I texted her something about it, and her response was, "Do you really think that's necessary?"
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. I don't need all that.
it was nice. It was different.
It almost appears as an outsider that it looks like maybe Berlin, you found a diamond in the rough and you polished her up and fixed her up and gave her a better life, more opportunity. Is that inaccurate, or is that kind of what happened?
I'd say that is I'd say that's largely accurate. I mean, I provided her with patience and care enough, and guidance and boundaries enough, and stuck with it long enough for who she was.
Yeah. No, I think there's something appealing and exciting for a man to, like in your position, to find somebody who could benefit from
That's true.
your guidance, all the things that you provide,
That's true. That is true.
and watch her turn into who she could be.
I saw who she was. I saw. The good in me saw the good in her.
The childhoods that you guys came from, Berlin. I don't know much about your childhood. Tell me about, you came from a more well-to-do family.
I came from much more well-to-do than her family was. My family had its own issues, including issues with violence. And it took me a long time to understand where that came from, understand the historic basis for it, and to really appreciate the good that I was so fortunate to have in the household in which I grew up. I mean, no matter what, my parents certainly loved me.
Are you similar to your father?
Yes. I wasn't always, but I definitely am.
Yeah, I find we all turn into our parents.
Pardon?
We all turn into our parents, whether we like it or not.
Perhaps I can only speak for myself, and I can definitely say I am very similar to my father in many ways, and I do like it. I embrace it. You said whether we like it or not. My vote is, in my case, from my experience, I like it.
Do your friends raise an eyebrow sometimes to your relationship?
Our friends generally don't know about our private relationship. Quite frankly, I wouldn't be here for this interview but for the fact that I'm hoping our experience might be of some service to some others.
Amazing.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to add that all of our friends know we don't have any friends that are in the BDSM community or anything with fetishes. All of our friends are they're vanilla. And we prefer that. We prefer just having the typical life, but then when we have our private time, then we just, do our extreme stuff. But that's just in our private, and it makes it more fun too, because it's almost like having a double life in a way, because you're out doing, PTA, and you're doing sleepovers and parties and church and work and all these, family time, amazing things. But then when we have alone time, we just go extreme and intense. And that makes it even more exciting.
It's your little secret
Yeah.
that only you two share.
Yes. And it balances things out too. There's a balance.
I see so many relationships that appear like they've kind of gotten stale, and the conversations that the couple is having are the same conversations they've had for the last 7 years. And it just, like, I don't know what the remedy is for that other than cheating or having some, splitting up or something. Whereas you guys probably keep it very alive and interesting.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes, when we come together and we have that alone time, we make the most of it because we don't always have that alone time. So there's a lot of ritual involved. There's a lot of props. A performance, a lot of performance because my dear M, he requires dress up. He requires makeup, and I'm a tomboy. I was never into any of this dressing up until we met. So he requires the whole enchilada and more. Then we have there's things like slave positions, just things that we get into. And because we are religious, we add a religious aspect to our alone time. And it intensifies it. So it's very, almost sacrilegious, would you say?
No,
No. Oh,
I wouldn't.
Wait, is sacrilege, am I using the right word? Or am I using the wrong word?
I don't know.
I was trying to say sacred.
Then you use
It's almost
wrong
the
word.
opposite.
Oh, the opposite. Oh, okay,
Yes.
Sorry about that, guys. It was almost sacred. There's a sacredness to our coming together, and it feels more about the souls. I always wanted to find a man that would go there with me, that would take that step. And when I met him, a few months after I met him, I asked him if he would take the step of
Take
making
that.
a pact.
Just
Oh, sorry.
leave the details out.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
And he did. And well, at first he didn't. At first he turned me down and he said, well, I'm not ready to do that with you because that's an eternal. It was going to be for eternity. And he said, I'm not ready. And I was crushed. I was so heartbroken. But fast forward to 3 months later, after he went to New Orleans and all these things, and he said, I'm ready to. And we did. On several continents, we took that.
We made a commitment to one another.
Yes. Special one. Spiritual one.
Is there any advice you guys can give? I'm not saying everyone should adopt your type of relationship, but I'm sure there's things you have learned about the dynamics of this kind of relationship that would apply to all relationships to keep them alive, keep them interesting, keep them growing.
Respect, communication, honesty.
Beautiful.
And may I add, also mischievousness. Don't lose that playfulness. Don't lose that because the inner child is so important. And when it comes out, boy, does it come out.
Agreed.
All right. Berlin and Angel Blue, thank you so much for coming back and
Thank you.
giving us a little more information about your very interesting lives.
Thank you.
You guys are great. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to do this. And if I might say, good work on the interview, Mark.
Oh, thank you very
Thanks.
much. All right, you guys. Thank you very much.